I I feel like Instagram, there's a club on Instagram that follows us because they hate us. Welcome to Happy Chaos.
Welcome to Happy Chaos.
Are you tired? I feel like Kelly's not her typical self right now.
I did wake up feeling like, oh, because I haven't had to set an alarm. Like our bodies really naturally wake up in the morning to go work out. And so then I set it extra early.
And then we turned it off and reset it for sort of early.
So I am a little tired, but
it's a good morning.
Waking up.
Yeah, it's a good morning for us here. It's early morning.
Yeah.
We have no apparent rhythm to film these podcasts.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say to tape these podcasts. Anyways.
He makes fun of me because I say tape, but.
Who's going to tape it? Well, I just wonder when you watch it back, are you like, oh yeah, let's look at the tape.
Well, no.
Right. You would say, let's look at the video because there's no tape left. Anyways, today, Happy Chaos podcast, we are talking through social media and just kind of all about being here online, making these podcasts, but also all of our short videos and what we're doing on Instagram and the influence that we're having there. I got called an influencer last week. That was, I hadn't really heard anybody say that.
Tell the story.
Particularly, like right now?
Yes.
So we have a brand deal.
Brand ambassadors.
Yeah, we got a brand deal with a t-shirt company, Caruso, and part of that, what's the word? What do they use? Campaign that they had was that we had to take a picture with the shirt and post it on our story, and we did. And then someone else that is a friend of the owner of the company
also follows.
Yeah, that apparently follows our page. He saw me with the shirt and he was like, "Hey, look at this pastor." Sent this to the owner of the company. It was like, "Hey, look at this pastor that's like posting with our shirt on." And then of course the lady we've been working with, Jenna, she was like, "Oh, I'd like to introduce you to our newest influencer." And I was like, "Oh, weird." But it's true. Yeah. Other than like people who've said it like in jest, I've never had anybody like actually reference us.
Like, oh, look at those influencers.
Nah, I don't know who would say it like that.
Right. So you got.
I feel like
it did happen.
I pictured us like I don't know, up high on a wall or something. Like, look at those. Like they're flying. No, anyways, no, I just mean like in the sense of like, people have referenced me as when I was an upholsterer. They were like, the upholsterer. They referenced me as that when I was
the preacher.
That now always get referenced as the preacher, the pastor. Mm-hmm. Y'all act different when I walk around. I see it. Everybody's doing one thing and then pastor comes. Sometimes people say it. They're like, "Oh, pastor's in the room, pastor's here."
Yep.
And I know that deep down that joke means y'all better quit talking about what you're talking about because
we're doing what you're doing.
Right. Like somebody in the room may not know that he's a pastor, and so we're gonna get you to stop. So that's what that one means. It's like when your kids like kind of warn each other, that mom and dad are coming. That's what it's like. It's like, "Oh, pastor's in the room. Wink, wink."
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, before we get into all things social media, it's Kelly's favorite moment of the podcast.
Yes, it is. Comment time.
The comment time. It's not that I don't like the comment time. I enjoy the comment time. Just I'm not as much as honestly, if it wasn't for Kelly, I would read like 2 comments. I would make it like a rarity, but Kelly would read in the opposite. Kelly would read every comment, all of them, which we'll talk about comments here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Part of the reason too that we get these off of Facebook, all of these comments that we're reading we get off of Facebook is because Facebook tends to be a little bit kinder than some of the other platforms.
Yeah.
At least for us. I'm sure different people have different, experiences, but for us, Facebook tends to be the nicer
Yeah,
comments.
I would agree with that.
I think we get the most of the mean ones off of YouTube and
Instagram.
Instagram. Y'all are hit and miss.
It's true.
It's rough over there sometimes.
It's very true.
I know you're owned by the same parent company, but it's rough.
Yeah, it's like two different like clubs. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Facebook is like the.
I feel like Instagram. There's a club on Instagram that follows us because they hate us. Does it feel that way?
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that. I feel like that with YouTube though, like some of the comments.
YouTube's the.
And I'm like,
listen,
why? Like y'all took your time to write a 4-paragraph essay to you about why they don't believe in God or why it's a mythical thing that you're. And I'm like, y'all, we see right through that. Like,
okay, you know what I think? This is how I quantify it. Facebook was right to say you have friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
So Facebook, we have friends. Instagram, I feel like we have, like 2 clubs. Like there's some that love us and some that hate us. So Instagram, I would just say sometimes, some of you, not all of you, some of you are mean on Instagram. So we have friends on, it's like friends on Facebook, mean girls on Instagram. And then YouTube, you're the crazies.
Yeah.
Like there have been some crazies on some other ones as well. You're all right. But listen,
I just want to tell some of these stories,
but YouTube, that's where the crazies come out at night. If you've ever been to like Walmart or Dollar General at midnight.
Oh, for sure.
That's all the YouTube people.
Yes.
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 Just want to be clear.
Oh my God.
I didn't say it. I was like, I literally
Looking there, I'm like, are you correcting me? Because I said breath instead of breathe?
No, I was
But
not.
then I'm like, oh.
I'm just telling you all right now that I was like, I'm gonna have to stop this video. Like, I don't know. We can't have
Cut this section out.
We can't have that.
That's not what I said.
Breathe. You got to take her
breath. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just taking this words. I'm like, I'm not even thinking. My
breathing. Breathing. Well, we're off to a great start today.
I will not cut this and make this the real. Okay, all right. Moving on.
Let's go to the comments now. Just so you know, what she was referencing. She was
the air in my lungs. That's what it was.
We know that. We get that. At this point, people have either turned it off or they're rolling. It's one of the two. But listen, people have made these videos and they take where somebody goes, and before they talk, which we all do. I mean, everybody has to take a breath before you talk.
Yeah.
And so they make these videos of like a person just going, and it's just like cutting to different scenes and they're just breathing like that. And so I think it's like Kelly's phobia is that somebody's going to take every breath that she takes. And
well, you created this phobia for me because I didn't know anything about this, you guys. I had no idea. I live in like
I saw one
a very sheltered little world.
I saw once like this sweet lady cooking, she's like this sweet old lady who's like cooking, but it's just a whole minute of her going, I was like, who did this to her?
Y'all are brutal.
I know.
We'll talk about that too, the brutal here.
Yeah. But, all right, let's read some comments. We've taken long enough to get to this point. We're gonna have to cut some of the comments down because we've taken so long to get here. Go ahead.
Do you see how he did that, you guys? Like he needs an excuse to cut me down from my comments. My comments. Just what I mean. To cut my time down. Ron Roseanne McCoy. Workout. Word sounds familiar. Did years ago. We walked a track and halfway was a turkey hill by it. So would stop and get a soda and candy bar. Hey, don't judge. Needed the energy. That was me and my son. But when husband was along, didn't stop. And a little like.
I get that. I definitely feel like I push us hard.
I don't think so. But
she
I feel like
right now.
I actually feel like this comment relates to him when we have the kids with us. We have this little ice cream shop down the road. Mm-hmm. We're going for a walk, y'all. A walk. And the kids will be like, can we stop at the ice cream shop? And he's like, let's go see if it's open. And I'm like, y'all, they charge like $7 for an ice cream. This person's never open.
I don't know if it's 7. They do. If you're watching down at the ice cream shop down the street from us, you could stay open a little longer. It's awkward. Like closing at 2 and 3 in the afternoon just is not good for business. So, because I'm telling you, I had a big old family. We was ready to drop $50 on ice cream because that's what it takes.
Yeah, many times. Many times.
Anyways, many times, meaning many times we've tried and unsuccessfully. It became the joke. I was like, joking with the kids about how early they closed, and I was like, it's like a game of, like, oh, when do they close today? Yeah. Oh, it's Tuesday. You could only come between noon and 12:15. Yeah. Anyways. Okay, Gina Holmes says, I look forward to these episodes each week, listening while I garden. How fun is that?
I know.
Love you both so much. Thank you for sharing your life and wisdom and silliness. There's nothing silly. This is a serious podcast. This is serious business.
He's
I don't know.
vacation.
Gina, I don't know what you're talking about with the silliness. I used to have a gifting problem, so much joy in gift giving, and so I'm wondering if you all would share what widow site did you meet on? So I think we talked about that a little bit. The widow site we met on I think it was called Young Widows.
Yeah.
Or
Young Widows and Widowers.
Yeah, Young Widows and Widowers. And it's not specifically for meeting, although that obviously does happen. Mm-hmm. But, the goal is sharing grief sharing and just support, for widows and widowers. It's a big group now. I mean, there's lots of people there. So I haven't been on it in a long time, but
I left it.
Yeah, I think I have too, but if I haven't, I don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So anyways, so that was the site. Thank you, Gina, for your comment. And as far as the gifting problem, I'm not certain that it ever goes away. I think you might just get used to it.
It's a good problem to have, though. Faye Meager.
I think that's right. I think Meager's right.
Let me know. Let us know if we did that right. Watching from Canada. You guys are the cutest. If I lived closer to you, I'd definitely attend your Sunday service. God bless you both. That is so sweet. Oh,
thank you.
I wish you lived closer too. But you could always fly over and come see us.
You can always watch online too.
Yeah, you can watch online.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure she does.
Yeah. There's a whole online thing here.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about today. Shelley Feudman says, I would never come at you for gifting or for your coffee problem. I love to give just like you, Kelly. It makes me happy to give to others. I love coffee and Starbucks. I also love trying other coffee shops. That's only my thing. It's just like you could try others.
I do. There's other ones that I like.
Okay, just they're not
like matzo pie. They have a delicious.
I've never heard
macchiato.
I've never heard you be like.
Yeah, you have.
Not in a craving sense. I've never heard you be in the car and you're just like, you know what I want? This little coffee shop down there. No, I've never heard that.
No, you probably have.
She said my daughter bought me a frother to make the cold foam, and I've been enjoying my own iced coffee at home. Bingo. That's what I'm trying to say. With caramel cold foam, so delicious. I need to be in your gifting club. Well, you can totally join the gifting club because it's apparently a thing now. I don't know there's much posted there. I don't know there's much going on.
There's not much going on there. There's not many people. I put it on, not this last podcast. I need to put it in there again.
Yeah.
Because I can only send invites to the people I'm friends with on Facebook.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so I need you guys to request to be in there.
Ooh, I love this one.
Yeah. Casey Rogers would love to track steps with you all. It would motivate me to do more, knowing there is accountability partners. Just have to get back into the habit of wearing my watch.
Come on. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's
fun.
When we get done with this, we've got a big old walk that we got to go take.
Yeah.
And so, we're all about it. It's other than the fact that her watch cheats, but it's fine.
It does not cheat.
You know what? When I was a kid, we had a Nintendo and it cheated for my brothers, and now you have
that's funny.
now you have a watch and it cheats. It cheats for you.
It tracks. It tracks for your life.
Yeah, it tracks. The electronics cheat.
Yeah.
And for other people though.
Yeah. Right. Not for you. Not for you.
No, not for me. I gotta earn it. Here's what I have to say about our step challenge. Here's what I have to say.
Okay.
Have I ever beat you in number of steps?
Yes.
I want you to now think of how many more miles I had to walk to get
you
those
had to
steps.
do 1,000 more steps.
And for me, if we walk the same amount of miles, I'm 1,000 behind you.
I know.
So that means I have to walk 2,000 steps to get like more than like our regular walk.
Yeah.
To be, look, I see what you're doing right now. You're patronizing me.
Listen,
2,000 steps
give
is a
me
lot more
something.
steps.
When we work out, like I push some weight. I push some weight.
I'm not even
He
challenging. I'm saying
burns
that
100 calories more than me every workout. Every workout. So if I forget to,
I
or
work out
like my
harder.
watch dies and I don't have my watch when working out,
I work out harder. It's fine.
stop it. He always, so I could be like, oh, well, how many calories did you burn? And he'll be like 460. And I'm like, well, then that means I burned 360 because it's always 100-calorie difference.
It is. It is like clockwork, 100 calories.
Do I think your watch is cheating? No.
But I'm saying that if we walk the same distance, the same 4 miles, and
We're doing the same workout just because you're double the weight lifting that I am.
I'm just telling you right now, I think that if you see what I'm saying, I have to, for me to win in steps, I have to go double as far.
You don't have to go double as far. It's only 1,000 every 7,000 steps. Every 6,000 steps. You're 6,000, I get 7,000.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not double.
No, it's not double. I'm saying, but it's double as many. If I beat you by 1,000, it's really more like I had to take 2,000 more steps because I didn't take the same amount of steps as you. I had to take 2,000 more than you.
If we walk 6,000, if we walk our 4 mile.
That's true. We walk way more than that.
All right.
Okay. Anyways, sorry y'all that we're going off on the step thing again. I kind of forgot we were here. I was just talking about the steps. Hey,
Maybe
welcome
just
to
shuffle
the
your
podcast.
feet a little bit more.
I'm going to, y'all. This time I'm gonna like old man shuffle the whole walk.
You
I'm
should.
just gonna like,
You totally should.
I'm gonna like that.
Instead of your legs going, look at my legs. They just do what they want.
I don't know why I feel so offended by that impression of my legs. I'm like, why are my legs
Mine are
like?
wait for me.
Why are mine like two big dumb giants? Like Jack and the Beanstalk legs that are.
Stop it. That's not even what it is.
That's what you make it
They
sound.
just chill. I say, like, hey man, look at my legs. They just do whatever they want.
None of these are okay. My legs are apparently dumb. Like this.
Oh my god, they're just chill. They're just chill. That's my chill voice.
All right, I'm reading 2 more comments, then we got to move on.
You're reading 2 more and I'm reading 2 more. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, wow.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, Kim Williams. See, I remembered.
I know.
Yeah. She said, still loving Monday nights to listen to your love story with all the fun and laughter. This is a serious podcast. Anyways, I feel like I'm watching a rom-com. We're in Ohio, 4 hours and 31 minutes per map.
So we were wrong about that.
Hope to be down in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we won't come while you're on vacation. LOL. Didn't see the link for the gifting group. I'm so excited about it. And Pastor Justin, what size shoe do you wear? What size shoe do I wear?
12.
I didn't even know. I was like, I don't.
12. You do. Like, okay, you guys, I have been buying him shoes for probably 3 years because my gifting problem, right? If he says he wants something, I'm like, oh, go get it really quick, right? You guys, like a month and a half ago, I'm texting him from the store getting our daughter shoes. And I sent him a picture of these shoes and they're orange and blue and they're Adidas. And I'm like, look at these. Do you like them? He didn't answer because he was on a phone call. And I was like, all right, I'm getting them. I thought for sure that would trigger him to be like, no, don't get them.
I totally would have.
And he said, I love them, size 12. If you could have, this is the face. I'm like, you didn't need to tell me your shoe size. Like, I know your shoe size better than you know your shoe size, but you're telling me your shoe size?
This whole thing is that you're upset that I told you my shoe size?
Yes. I was like, who are you talking to? Joe Schmo on the corner? No, you're talking to me. I know your shoe size. People come to me to ask me your shoe size.
I am sorry.
Our daughter comes to me
I'm sorry
every birthday.
I'm sorry that I mansplained my shoe size to you.
I don't think that was mansplaining. You just told me it.
Just so you know, like in my mind, I think I was thinking, because I had to go look, and it depends on the brand on whether I'm a 12 or not.
I buy you 12s all the way around.
No, because if I get a wider shoe, sometimes I have to get like 11 and a half. Like Vans, I usually am 11 and a half.
This man does not own one 11 and a half in our closet, so.
All right, well, whatever.
Nor does he own Vans. I would totally get him some Vans.
We're not getting Vans today. You just bought me a pair of other shoes.
All right.
I can't keep up, y'all. Like, why buy yourself some shoes?
All right. Gretchen, I do need some new workout shoes. Desperately.
Yeah.
They're so bad. Y'all rock. Oh, so I'm sorry. Gretchen Benningfield. Y'all rock. I challenged myself to do a metabolism reset for 14 days. That's what I want to do. I'm staying under 20 carbs. Thanks for the encouragement. I need it. Kelly, is there a plan you follow? Track macros? You sound like you've had great success. I have had absolutely great success. My great success started out right after my husband passed away. My late husband passed away. And so, you don't want to eat. I didn't. And so I forced myself to eat just a little bit every day because I knew that I would eventually have to eat. So yeah, that's how I dropped like 70 pounds in like 3 months. It was very, very quick. Like every time I got on the scale, 4 pounds, 7 pounds. So anyways, then I think I talked about this a little bit. I was at this like plateau and I don't know, it was just bad, but I'm finally like losing again and working towards my goals again. And my plan, I stayed a pretty big calorie deficit. I'm usually 800 to 1,000 calories a day. We walk about 4 miles a day. We do a workout, a good lift workout.
Just to be clear, we do a dedicated 4 miles of walking plus whatever the rest of the day is.
Yeah.
It's not like 4 miles for the whole day.
Yeah, we usually get 15 to 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah, we're somewhere. I would say, like big days when we're really walking a lot, doing a lot. It is not uncommon for us to see 20,000.
Yeah.
And I would say, when we've like been in a big step challenge and we're like really pushing hard, it's 23,000, 26,000.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. That's a lot of steps in a day.
I don't track macros. I never have, but it is something that, during this like 2-year plateau, I was like seriously considering getting into that. I've tried so many different things. I've done all fruits and veggies, and that was probably my most successful at the time, but it's not sustainable, like just fruits and veggies for a really long time, at least not for me. But so now I just try to eat as healthy as I can.
Yeah, I mean, you've done intermittent fasting, you've done keto.
Keto did not do good with me.
Yeah. Keto, the hard one, I see you, Gretchen, that you're saying that you're working on carbs. But Kelly, when she was doing keto, the bigger problem for her was just the fact that she didn't feel good. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it necessarily didn't work, or I don't think you really did it long enough. You just hated the way you felt. Yeah.
And even though I'm not a carb person, I don't eat
you're really not. You don't eat a ton of carbs.
No. And now I get these like tortillas. They're like Mission tortillas, and they have like, I don't know what the carbs on it because I don't ever pay attention to my carbs, but the calories, it's 60 calories for a big old tortilla, and it's 120 in a regular tortilla. So I love those, and sometimes I'll do veggie wraps in the green spinach wraps. But anyways. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining the comments section.
Oh, Casey Rogers, vanilla is my vote.
I told you, vanilla is the more popular. We would lose that argument. Like, chocolate is better, but it's not statistically better.
I just want to read this because I've never read a comment from Madonna Morris.
All right.
And so,
all right.
Here is a great iced coffee recipe. My sister got me hooked. I hope you try it and enjoy it. By the way, big cup is the size of your pink cup in this week's episode of Happy Chaos. Love this podcast. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for the recipe.
Does she mean that as a question? By the way, big cup is the size of your pink cup.
No, because look, it's a big cup to make.
Oh, she's saying it's when it says big cup, it's talking about that. Oh, okay. Got it.
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to, for sure.
Gotcha. I didn't catch that at first.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all, thank you for joining the comment section. Let's get on to social media.
Yes.
We really want to talk about like staying grounded on social media. And obviously, you guys are here, you're on social media. That's the only way that you're receiving this.
Yes.
I always find it funny when, some people are like technology, but they're saying it on technology, and I'm like, you do realize you're saying that on technology.
Exactly.
So it's humorous.
It is humorous.
My dad, he does this thing. I know my mom watches. I don't think my dad does, but she can tell him. But my dad does this thing where he like claims that he hates cell phones and he hates technology, but then he uses other people's vicariously. He'll be like, pull up on your GPS. And
He's so cute.
and you're like, Dad, you have a phone. You could use your own phone. I'm not using my phone for all that. Y'all do all that. But I'm like, well, it is a lot easier than MapQuest, And
I never used anything like MapQuest or anything.
when we first started our business, we had to do pickups and deliveries, and GPS on a cell phone. I remember it was a big deal. My brother got a TomTom. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And so he got like a TomTom, and you had to pay yearly to update it, like $75 a year to update the roads because of like,
That's crazy.
where they change roads or whatever. Then your TomTom wouldn't be accurate if you didn't update it, and so you had to pay $75 a year to get it up to like update the TomTom. And you could we thought it was a big deal that you could change the voice on it. We borrowed it one time when we went to Florida. Like it was me, and it was the first time I'd ever gone to the beach, and we borrowed his TomTom, and then we changed it to like a girl voice, and all the kids called it Tammy instead of TomTom.
That's funny.
And so, yeah. Anyways.
I changed my GPS to an Australian girl.
Yeah.
Just to make it fun. It's boring when you have just the same little voice. And so she'll say things really funny, and it gets us laughing. I love it. But then she changes midway through.
I want to test the rock melon thing right now. I want to see try to get it to say cantaloupe in some way and see if it says rock melon, because it's Australia. Y'all never answered. I don't know. Apparently we don't have anybody watching from Australia right now. Or at least didn't pay attention to the rock melon comment.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyways, you did try the rock melon, so I give you credit.
And we had a really good one at
Are you right?
the in-laws.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Okay, well, let's just start out. We want to start out about, goodness, we're probably half hour into this.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly reminds me of that Kermit meme that I always see. She's like, that's none of my business. As I say that you're going to spit it if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny though? Every time I put on a white shirt, I think about that. I think about Kelly. You almost spit your coffee every single time. You have to be careful.
Kelly she just loves the comment section, y'all. That's her favorite section. All right. So, for us, we just had different starting positions. For me, social media, funny enough, if you were to go back probably 10 years ago, around the 10-year ago mark, I refused all things social media. Like I wouldn't have Facebook. I think MySpace was a thing back then. Yeah, it's probably, but a little more so I really, at first it was like,
well, there's a lot of drama. There is.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama. And I think there's a lot of, especially for men, there's a lot of temptation that's there. At women too, probably just in a different way. And so, there's temptation there, and that's all things. Don't misunderstand me. The enemy can use all things to be tempting, and I see things in a different light now. But I'm just telling you, back then I was like, no, I don't. Something that I don't know if I ever verbalized it, but I definitely thought it was why do I need to like pictures of somebody else's kids or wife or, I wouldn't go through your wallet. This was way back in the day. I will go through your wallet and look at your pictures, And so, I don't know. It was just weird, the thought of it at first. And I'm saying at first, I was probably 2 decades late into the,
yeah,
social media chat. It used to be chat rooms back in the 90s. And then, and I felt I felt like that too. I felt like social media was like a glorified chat room. And so I saw it that way,
And it's a place for people to be mean to each other because they're hiding behind a screen.
And also don't forget that, a decade ago, smartphones were relatively new and not everybody had one. I mean, I remember trying to distinguish the difference between Androids and Apples. I'm like, I don't understand what's so different about it. I didn't have an Apple and I ended up getting an Android. And so I'm just saying that, like, it's definitely taken a turn. There's a difference there in the way that we ingest all this information that we get. And so anyways, I hated social media. And I went to a pastor's conference and this pastor made this reference about how Jesus went where people are. And he did not say social media, but in my mind, I felt the conviction of the Lord, and I just heard, like, he was like, Jesus would have found where the most amount of people are, and he would go there, and that's where he would take the gospel. And he had a lot of other things to say, but I just remember that being something that stuck with me. And I just felt so convicted I was like, I can sit around and be pouty about this all day long, but there are millions of people there that could use to hear the gospel, and I'm not taking it there. And so I remember calling my wife, and I was like, calling Sarah, and I said, Sarah, like, I don't know what to say. Like, I think maybe we ought to start looking this direction for ministry. And so she agreed, but reluctantly. And we did that thing where we started out with like a combined account. It was like, it wasn't Justin, it wasn't Sarah, it was Justin and Sarah. And Facebook didn't like that. That was a weird thing too. Like that was something that bothered me. I'm like, I don't care that you don't like it,
Right.
So I think we had to like put the names together. You couldn't space them with an and because Facebook didn't like that. So you had to like, stuff them together, Justin and Sarah. And I'm totally down for that still, by the way. I mean, if you're not on it, I think circumstances are just different. But in our circumstance in that moment, it was like, hey, let's, we'll have a joint account. We'll share the account. And then slowly over time, the Lord just began to work more and more into that of like, this is where ministry, I say this cautiously, but my wife was listening to like podcasts and things from a guy named Gary V. Now, just be forewarned, he is super foul-mouthed. Like, he just says foul words all through his content, and I don't condone that. I'm not saying that I condone that in any way. But the stuff that he spoke about, he was intelligent, and he was intelligent about social media. And then it was kind of his stuff that he was talking about. If you have a business today and you're not utilizing social media, you are, he would say it in pretty strong language that you're being foolish. And he would say things like, you have an opportunity, he'd be like, go back 10 years or 20 years, the opportunity to put your message in front of 1 million people or, whatever would cost you tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
To do that. And then now you can put your message in front of people for free.
Yeah.
And then he talked about like people who have a message. I don't think he really ever dove into the, religious side of things or the, the ministry side, or there's a word I'm looking for, but I can't seem to think of it right now. But, like evangelism, he did not dive into that in any way. But again, I kind of heard it that way because he talked about like some people, their whole thing is that they like have a mission. They have something they want to share. They have a truth that they want to share. And he's like, that's even more so reason that you would want to use this type of a platform. And so again, that was just really impactful to me to think like I saw it differently. I saw social media differently. And this is a part, I know you guys have probably heard the story of how like I physically got started. Like Sarah got me downstairs and, told me to go down and make a video. And so I started making these Bible study videos as I was wanting to teach through the Bible. But a little bit before that and a little more, backup story to that was the fact of like, starting to see social media as a tool to spread a message, to spread the message of the gospel, rather than seeing it as just a place to my initial view and what I didn't love was the idea of like making your personal life public.
Right.
And a place for friends to gather up. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Again, I think things have changed, times have changed. We don't log onto a computer to, go, I used to see it as a waste of time too. I'm like, you have to like go to your computer and go, you have to go, find this website and pull it up. Like it's different now. It's in the palm of our hand. It's directly connected to our pictures. Things are just different. So I see that part of it differently. But the thing for me that really changed my mind was seeing social media as a tool to spread the message, but most specifically for me, like spread the message of the gospel and do that via social media. And so with that in mind, that was like that was a starting point. And then and then that naturally led into, okay, now that I was opening myself up to the idea of being on social media and testing the waters of being on social media, then that led to the channel of, I want to teach through the whole Bible. How do I do that? How do I teach through the entire Bible? I'm saying this just so if you're new to that idea, like how do I do that I was thinking in person, like what if I had a Bible study every morning at church? And then, I'm like, well, people aren't going to come to every morning. They can't come to every morning. And then if you miss a little bit, you've missed it. Like, I can't keep doing the same stuff over and over just because you didn't, you didn't catch the last Bible study or whatever. So, I was trying to figure out, how do I do this? I love the Word of God and I want to teach the Word of God. And it was my late wife who pushed me to put that in video format and say, go make a YouTube channel and, stop talking about it, go do it. And so I did.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was kind of my starting point. I think yours is.
Which even then, like you didn't see the Lord orchestrating a ministry so big right now, helping so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you think of it from those terms, for me, it was a super slow growth.
Yeah.
On social media.
Yeah.
I know people have these channels where they grow really fast, but mine was not that, and it was a grind.
Yeah.
And it still is, for that matter. But it was not a overnight success where it's like, oh, and I think a lot of people still have this mentality, like, oh, how do I get this message across, or how do I get famous or whatever? And they think, oh, I'm going to post a video and millions of people are going to see it. It's just not the way that it works 99.9% of the time. It just doesn't work that way. There are some people who have these overnight successes. I even know some of them, even right now. I know some of them that are kind of like overnight successes when it comes to social media. But for the most part, it's a grind.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like here's a true story. The first year that I was posting these videos on YouTube, I only grew that channel by less than 100 subscribers. It took me over a year before I first saw like 101 subscribers. And, that's peanuts in the social media world. I mean, it's literally nothing.
Yep.
And then, the second year it was like 100 to, I think I went from 100 to like nearly 300 in the second year. And I mean, that's technically exponential growth, because it wasn't 100 went to 200, it wasn't like 100 one year and 100 the next year. It was 100 one year, and then the next year was like 200 went to 300. And then the next year, like 300 went to 1,000. And it took me to the third year before I finally broke 1,000. And then in that third to fourth year, I went from 1,000, I went up to like 4,000 or 5,000. So again, 1,000 in a year, and then to 4,000, 5,000 in a year. And then now here I am in my fifth year, and it's at like YouTube's at like 21,000 or something like that. But again, you can see that was when I put it in those terms, you can see it, yes, it's exponential growth, but it wasn't exponential growth in like,
right.
You
weren't popping off.
It wasn't popping off, not in any way.
Yeah.
And so it's just been a grind. It's just been a lot of work. But I still, again, like if you see it as a vehicle, if you see it as a tool, if you see it as a skill and you're refining that skill, it looks a little different than, oh, I'm just posting silly videos of me and my kids or something like that.
Right.
So.
And I wish I had some motivating story about why I joined social media, but I don't.
No, I think yours, it's just different. Like, it's just a different thing. You were already on social media.
Yeah.
we met via social media. So, I mean, like, I feel like I can't dog on it like I used to now. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah. Me and Jonathan never had a joint. He could care less about, Facebook, same or anything like that, but I got him on there. And so, I don't know, he was very early on and, just, I don't know. But anyways, mine, I just got on for social purposes, for connecting with people and friends and, family that lived in Massachusetts and all that good stuff. And then met you. And that was I don't know, a really great thing that came from social media. And then,
would you say that your perception, though, from where we started, even where you started, on social media for those social reasons, and then where you are now, like, do you feel like you see it the same, or do you feel like you see it different?
oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the fact that I constantly have people like coming to me and, oh, can you reach out to this person? They lost their spouse and they could really, use your guidance and your, what you've learned and what you've been through. And I mean, just the stories of people coming to me and saying, my laugh is such a huge thing now with everybody. Everybody has something to say about how curing and healing my laugh is. And that makes
You're laughing in the spirit.
all of it worth it, because we're going to discuss. That's we don't believe in that, you guys. We don't believe in that. That's terrible.
I wouldn't say I don't believe
I
in
don't
it.
believe in it.
This is what I would say. Like, the spirit can do what he wants. The wind blows where it wants to blow. And so I'm just saying that the examples I've seen of people laughing in the spirit, I don't believe in that. I think if the spirit wanted to cause someone, if the spirit wants to bring someone joy, and that brings laughter, like somebody, hadn't laughed in a while and that's healing to them,
I still wouldn't consider that laughing in the spirit, though.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not the picture of what I've seen of laughing in the spirit. Yeah. So. Anyways, didn't mean to get all heavy there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I was just joking.
Well, it's a subject that people are confused about, and so just wanted to touch on it. But yes, to me, it's powerful. It's powerful to know that, certain things that God is using my story, my pain, my story of restoration, my story of going from not wanting to wake up to laughing and giggling and having just a good time, means the world to me. It changes everything.
Yeah.
So I definitely see it differently.
Yeah.
And then, there's the negative side but we'll talk about that here shortly. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I would actually, I have that as a thing to talk about, which is, the first moment that you realized that people were listening. That's a thing. For me, I was actively using social media as a tool to try to reach more people. That was a goal, was to, reach more people with the message. And so I was trying for that. And I would say, like, to some degree, I would call it failing. Like, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a quick.
Failing in your humanly perspective.
Yeah, sure.
Little did you know the Lord was was working through it.
Absolutely. But I mean, like, so here's what I would mean, y'all. Like, I would sit pretty much in this very spot, and I would spend an hour creating a Bible study, like, studying through the scripture, whatever I was going to teach on that day, thinking through that, reading up on that, taking some notes on that, and then, set up my camera and make a video, take another hour to make the video. And then I'd go edit it down. And, back then I didn't have even the editing tools that I have now. So that took even longer. And so there's another hour. So it takes, say, 2, 3, maybe 4 hours from start to finish to post this little 10-minute, 20-minute Bible study video. And then I would post that and it would get like 2 views, 4 views. I mean, there were times I posted videos that literally sat at 0 for weeks. And, nobody ever watched it. And it's like, what am I doing? But I use that as a means of, like, kind of honing in, trying to make things better. I'm still trying to do that. I mean, you see that. Like I look at it and go, okay, how do I make that better? If instead of getting mad and blaming the algorithm or blaming the platform, I try to say, okay, like what was wrong that the video didn't get watched, that people didn't want to watch that? What could I do better to make people want to watch? And so for me, the moment I realized that anyone was listening really happened when my wife got sick. I went a year, not quite a year, making those Bible study videos. I was very committed. I was making them every single day, and getting up extra early and coming down here and making the video and then getting it edited. And Sarah was helping me with that somewhat. And then she got sick, and when she got diagnosed, that was the first time that I ever had a video. I made a video to say, really, like in my mind, I don't know if I clarified it well because I was in such a fog, but I was sitting in my car and I was literally making a video to say, this is why I didn't make that Bible study video today. And that was the first video that it was like people paid attention to. And so that was the first time that I realized that anybody was listening. And so, definitely that tailored some of the content. There's still this goal of teaching through the Bible, but at the same time, there's also the part of like being relational, like trying to relate to people on a effective basis, something that's effective, and not just being stubborn and saying, okay, well, this is the goal that I had and this is what I want to do. Instead, I'm utilizing the two and blending the two. God is using, I feel like the Lord is using our story. And it was a story at first of my wife being sick, and then it was of her passing, and then my personal grief and dealing with that, and then you and I now in this place of healing and reconciliation and on this journey together. And I feel like all of that put together makes that story that I feel like the Lord has been using. But for me, the first time that I felt like anybody was ever listening was when Sarah got sick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I feel like probably after we got married was the first time anyone was listening to me. I wasn't out there though. I didn't have a public profile. I just had my friends on Facebook. I didn't, it's a private Facebook. And so I wasn't out there like you are, that I had an Instagram page for my photography, but I mean, that's just photography, my shooting weddings. It's not like I was, telling my story through the photography. It's just kind of telling everybody else's story. So
right.
I don't feel like anybody was really listening.
I feel like there was the timing of that made it seem like I wasn't listening, but I just was making sure I wasn't doing something on my watch. It was like,
oh goodness,
I felt it vibrate. I was like, look down, and then you were like, you paused the way you said that. I was like, did you? I was listening.
No, I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah, I think too that there's a perception that people see, and it can look like, and I can totally see a perception to say like it looks like somebody's craving attention, they're attention seeking. And I think that there's a difference when you are posting not because you're wanting attention. And I think you can probably see that, like, I'm sure, even now as I say that, I'm like, I wonder if you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking about. Like a post we saw the other day, and I just feel like it's like craving attention. Like there are some people that are like legitimately just craving attention. They just want somebody to look at them, and they would use any means necessary to get somebody to
I think that is the internet and social media for the most part. Like,
yeah, for
people
sure.
do some crazy stuff to get views, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
insane.
I mean, that's where Tide Pods came in. Well, isn't it?
I can't.
I mean, like that's you got kids eating Tide Pods because they're just trying to get some attention.
Sure.
And so but I think there's a when you're here's what I like is like when you feel called into something, and when you're doing that with a purpose, I feel like then for us the fruit is different.
Yeah.
Our fruit of the work is different. For you, like even what you said a minute ago, like what helps you thrive is when someone meets you and says, not just I follow you online, but we follow you online and your journey, your laugh has been healing to me, or just seeing that you all have been able to make it through the grief. And I mean, even
find love again.
yeah, even recently we've been, on phone calls and in person with persons. I'm telling y'all, like no exaggeration, multiple within the last 4 weeks. We've had, probably, I'd say I could count at least 5 or 6, persons who have met us in person in one way or another, whether via phone or coming to church or seeing us somewhere, and reference to us like how our story of healing, how we went from grief to being married and finding joy, and how that's helpful to them. And so that, I think that like is that helps you to feel to feel that purpose, and that fruit helps. So so it's not just seeking attention, but it's um, it's a mission, and then there's a purpose there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, actually, but when we were dating, he tried to get me to like make reels to grow my photography business on social media. And he's like, you need to, let people get to know you, get on there, speak. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not speaking. I refuse.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I was a little nervous to like bring that up, because like the difference of where you are now compared to.
But it's like I'm talking to you. I'm having a conversation in front of the camera.
We made a reel the other day, and I was silent with like stuff in front of my face, and you did all the talking.
But it's still 2 people. It's not me by myself being like, let me tell you a story about something. I feel like weird. I don't know. But I mean, even still, like I have come a long way because I've done it. I've done it so much that it's like, it's natural.
Once you can picture your audience too, that helps.
Yeah.
The first couple of times you're in front of a camera, you're talking to the camera.
I think it's the opposite for me, but it's like, I don't want to picture people watching me like, and actually focused on.
I don't mean like people watching in that sense of an audience, but I mean like that there's like, I don't know about you, but for me, like I can feel like I'm talking to some of the people that, I'm like, they're regulars, and you see their comments and you see what's going on. Anyways, that's all I meant by that. I didn't mean like picturing them like literally standing as an audience or something, but just the fact that you're talking to a person, like there is somebody else on the other end of that.
Yeah.
That helps. But I'm just telling y'all, like what she's telling you is right. She has a photography business, and I'm going, okay, if you want to grow that business, utilize the platform. You're already on the platform. You already have people following, utilize that platform. And so she began to start utilizing that platform, but getting her to put her face. And so it literally started with that. It was like, going
silent videos.
Yeah. It went from like, I had to convince her to actually post her work. She's taking all these pictures, she's doing these photo shoots, and then she's not posting them. And I go, you have to, like, people want fresh content, they want to see fresh, they want to see new. And, I remember convincing her the first time to spread out some of the, she had taken pictures and of a wedding or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what the scenario was, what the scene was that you'd taken pictures of, but you posted all the pictures all at once. And I'm like, no, spread those out. It gives you got a whole week's worth of stuff there, post a little now and a little later. And so that was one. And then, getting her to then, go from like behind the camera to flipping the camera around and being in front of the camera. And this was the example. You want me to give you the example that I gave Kelly? Do you remember the example I gave you? I can't believe you don't remember. I feel like the examples are the things that stick. I told her that realtors notice that realtors always put their face on their business card.
Yeah.
Or like if you see a billboard, if there's a lawyer or a realtor, notice that there's like a profile of them, a picture of their, midsection up or whatever, they'll put a picture of themselves. And that way they're trying to help you to relate to, like, get to know them or whatever. And so, I remember telling her, I'm like, look, if you want people to get in your photography business, then they want to feel like they know you. They want to feel like they get to know you. It's just marketing. It's not, it's not anything different than that. You're just marketing your business. And so, yeah. Anyways, that was it. That was,
I like this much better. I like people knowing me through.
You just needed me to like get you to open up.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm still like, don't try and put me on stage. That's a train wreck.
You'll get there.
No, I won't.
What are you gonna do when somebody in our audience here says, "Hey, can the two of you come out and come speak?"
Okay, I could do that. Because I can sit and speak with you as long as I've got you
You
here.
heard it here first.
And telling my story. I think that's different too. Like I can tell my story and have a conversation with you. But if I'm up on stage by
I can't
myself,
get her to do church announcements live. We can only do those as a video.
No.
All right. So I want to touch a little bit too on like what we say no to.
Yeah.
Because we are to a point that, this is monetizable. And, even that, like, I don't feel like I have anything to hide. Like, there's no secrets there. We make very little off the whole thing, to be completely honest. For all the time that we put into this, it's ministry. Like, the goal is not to monetize it. Yeah. That was not the starting goal. If you were to right now, I would say it this way, like if Facebook, if Instagram, if brands, if everybody took everything away, we would still be here, because the ministry it's a calling to share that message here. So, we're certainly not making posts for the sole reason of trying to win over the algorithm or some brand or, whatever.
Right.
That's not the goal. And we have the proof of that. I mean, I have 4 years worth of proof with no monetization. There is no, money to be made there. And so, but we're to a point now that there is potential there. Yeah. And we do have that. And so, again, I don't see any reason to not share about that, but it does cause us to have to say no to some things. Yeah. Because we're not. So first of all, just to say it, like to put it out there, like we kind of feel like just like anything else, like why? Where's the harm in us getting paid for something that we're already doing? As a matter of fact, with what we see, it's potentially even a blessing to others. Like right. it could potentially be a blessing to our church. It could be a blessing to others around us. And so it seems foolish. And I'm not saying foolish in a bad way. Like I know that there are other content creators that absolutely refuse any monetization so that they can stay true to their mission. And I get that. And, maybe one day I will be on a podcast saying, oh, we monetized and I wish that we didn't. And, but as of right now, we've monetized, which means that we have ads that come out on our videos, and then we get, monies from those ads. Interestingly enough, most of the time, those are laughable amounts of money. Yeah. Like, when I say laughable, like true story, this happened. I had some people that got upset at my church because I had stars,
person.
Yeah. It was a couple of people. I could name 3. And so, there were stars on my reels. And the way it was set up then, I think it might be a little different now, but the way it was set up then was I couldn't turn them on some and turn them off others. There was one button on this, business suite, is like Meta Business Suite or whatever. There was one button to say allow for stars or don't allow for stars. And so, they'd popped up and said, oh, you can monetize this way. People can help support the channel. And so I click on it so that people can give stars. And some other people got upset because some of my content is my sermons and, clips from my sermons that I preach. And somebody got upset about that. And they said, oh, people are going to think that they're giving to your church. And really that's going to you. So you're tricking people. And then the question came up about monetizing in general, like monetizing those. And so it was asked me, that my church elders asked me to turn those off.
Well, let's be, you went to them and you said, when they approached you about this complaint, you said, I am more than happy to turn that off if that's what needs to be done. If you feel
this is a totally different podcast, but just, from a church side, I told them, I was like, I am an elder with other elders in the church. I'm the pastor, lead pastor, but here are these other elders in the church with me. And so I'm, the same rule that I would have for anybody else, I'm given to myself, which is, I want to be submissive to what their request is. And so they've requested to keep the peace for me to turn those off.
What were you making?
That's the thing I'm going to get to. So that's the funny part. So I showed him, I was like, just so you all know, the thing that you're asking me to turn off, the reason this is so easy to turn off was 8 cents. I had made 8 cents in stars and monetization from, from my videos. And I had videos at the time that were like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, 100,000 views, 150,000 views. And the monetization off of that was on the Facebook side was 8 cents.
Yeah.
And so I just turned it all off. Since then, I've never turned stars back on because they were worthless anyways, at least in my opinion. So I've never turned those back on, but we have turned the monetization of the videos. We have turned that back on. But even still, I mean, very regularly, Instagram is literally nothing. It's never been anything. I mean, it's y'all, no joke. Right now, I could show you. I don't have a way to do that, but like I could show you on Instagram right now. We're probably at something to the tune of like 95 cents for the month, or $1.50 for the month is what they give in monetization. It's like laughable amount. Like you look at it and I'm like, Instagram, get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why do you even have that as a?
Yeah, I mean, and even like he thus far, we refuse to get on TikTok. Everybody's like, well, TikTok is where you can make the money. You're already creating the content. Just get on TikTok and share it there and make the money. And that's where our beliefs come in. As far as we can see and as far as we know, TikTok is not something that we want to be involved with.
Yeah. Yeah, I struggle with TikTok. Just so y'all know, like I have, considered. I mean, the fact of the matter is, it falls in the same line as the other, as what I said before. I go, well, millions of people are there, whether I agree with it or don't agree with it. I still haven't, been able to bring myself to go over there. And part of that, just so you all know, and you can correct me on this, like I'm willing to be corrected. But one of the things that that I had learned before about TikTok was that it was being used by the Chinese Communist Party for their social scoring system.
Yeah.
And so they have a social scoring system in communist China, and they are scoring people based on their behaviors, and they're getting that information via the vehicle of TikTok, and that it was also being used for espionage in the United States, which I'm like, I don't fully understand that, but I'm sure there's parts of it that I don't understand, probably because I'm just not in that world, and how could I understand it? I'm this like guy that makes Bible study videos.
Right.
But then that's the other side of it, is to say I'm making a Bible study video, and if I make a Bible study video and I put it over on put it over on TikTok, have I done something wrong? And so,
but I guess that point was just to prove like where your thought process is and where you're coming from for the few people that come against you and have said things like,
oh no, I mean, in the comments, there's still some coming against, even like advertisements. I remember one time he gets on and he just railed on me for the advertisement that was on his end, and I won't go into detail about what it was. And then I wrote back and I was like,
those are tailored to your search.
Like, that's what cookies are about, man. Like when you've accepted the cookies, that's what cookies are. It's like, the cookie in the cookie jar, you want to get the kid to put his hand in the cookie jar.
Yes.
And so you put things in front of him he wants to see. I think most people know that by now. I mean, if you think that you can talk into your phone and that it hears you and then gives you advertisements for those things, which I think that totally happens too. Don't you understand that the reason you're seeing the advertisements you're seeing, I have no control over those advertisements. I have a little control over those advertisements, and I try to set them. I mean, I have them set to, I don't want like X-rated content. I don't, but still stuff comes in. I think that one was like some sort of an adult dating site or something like that. And, he was railing on me for seeing that. And I was like, brother, that's on your end. Like, that's not me. That means that you're in some way that your phone thinks that you want to see that.
Yeah.
And so that's not happening because of me. And even at that, I mean, I remember when I first monetized and I was questioning, should I monetize? Should I not? Because there's a guy that I follow on YouTube, and he does not monetize. He's got, he doesn't really do Bible studies, but he's got faith-based content. It's called Off the Curb Ministries, and he refuses to monetize at all. He won't monetize any of it. And, I don't, if that's your conviction, like, go with that. But I'm just saying that, there is definitely conviction in what we're doing. Monetizing has become a part of it, but then it's caused us to say, and I gave you all like the super negative, like, Instagram giving, $1.95 or, $1.50 or something like that. But it's not all that way. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, we do make more than that on YouTube now, and on Facebook most of the time. I think that we make more than that, significantly more than $1.50. Nothing life changing, nothing earth shattering, y'all. Don't misunderstand me, but into the hundreds.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like one time.
no, we've done. No, it's been more than once, but it's definitely like growing. It's just like anything else. It happens once, and then it happens again, and then it happens kind of more regularly. I will say YouTube is at least consistent.
Yeah.
YouTube's very consistent
definitely.
in what it is. But then that leads me to like so one is just the monetization of the platform itself, but then to the monetization of brands. We have, with no brand deals whatsoever and no, really nothing coming in to speak about on social media. We've said no to several things. I got invited to this, what I thought was like, oh man, that's going to be like right up my alley for content. It was this, basically like Bible app. And they have all of these different rooms. They've got like a prayer room and a this room and a that room and I thought it sounded great until I downloaded the app. And then I was like, I don't want to endorse this. It was weird. Some of the stuff that was happening there was weird. Like they had one room, they had like these healing sounds. Do you remember that one when I showed it to you? It was like they had these like, it was like a room you could go into in the Bible app, and they have like healing tones and I'm not here to get on you about that. I do know that there are some things with frequencies, but I'm here to promote God's word and the truth of God's word. And I'm not trying to get into whether or not 550 hertz is gonna, heal somebody or something. Like I have no dog in that, but even more so, then there were some other things on there that were weird. And I'm just saying that I was like, this is not for me. Like I can't do this. Like they're offering to pay me to endorse this, but I can't endorse this. I had the same thing happen with a guy that had like which sounded good at first. He was like, it's all about like his whole deal, his whole mission as a company was to like help men get off of pornography. And I'm like, I'm down for that, but then when I'm like watching his content and the stuff that he's saying, I'm like, oh, like I don't like the way this is. I mean, I'm all for the message, but the way that this is being presented, I don't want to endorse this. And so, some of it just really had to do with like verbiage and things that were being said that I was like, I don't want my kids to see me endorsing this, and then they go and see this guy and he's saying these things that I don't agree with. So, we've had to say no. We've had to literally say like, that's, it sounded good, but it's not for us. We can't just endorse any and everything. What we take as a brand, then we're endorsing that message to some degree. And so we want to do that well.
Yeah. Stop. Why are you doing that?
I felt like you went quiet on me.
No, not at all. Like I feel like you have
that was funny.
You have more to speak about with that than I do,
Oh no, honey, my monetization and brand deal side of all of this is new. You're in all of that. So
no, but I mean like you just talking about like even that one that you just said, the getting them. So
yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another one that we have to be really careful of. We have to set a boundary, which is our kids.
Yeah.
We see it on here, people asking us to post pictures of our kids. And
there are times I want to so bad. Like, I mean, I even, made that reel with our kids at our photo shoot. But it's because all their faces were turned away. And so I was like, okay, I know it's, tiptoeing with he has stronger. He's like, no, I don't want, them on there. But I'm like, well, it's not showing their faces. And I don't know. I'm torn because we show so much of our life with you guys, and our children are such a huge part of our life. And so I really would love to be like, these are our kids, these are the crazy moments that we have. And, I look at it that way. But I mean, what he's been through previous to me with Sarah, they had a little, not podcast, but what was it that you guys had?
Vlog.
A vlog.
Vlog.
And they had some pretty crazy stuff happen. And so I totally get it. Like when he told me, I was like, that really happens? Like somebody seriously? Like, and then I got introduced to this world of stuff that happens that I had no idea happens. And so that's the biggest part of it. But I feel like the lighter side, but serious to us, is like the comments, the hate and the mean things that are said. Like, goodness, people don't care that it's a child. They will be the first to say mean things.
I've got an old friend. He came over just last night, and he has some pretty big viral videos, and he has his kids in those videos. His kids are the way. I didn't get permission from him to speak about it, so I don't want to share too much. But his kids are in the videos, and he's got these big viral videos. Lots of views on these videos. And I mean, the first thing out of his mouth when we were talking just last night, did he not say? He's like, "Man, people on the internet are mean." And he was like, they're calling me this and calling me that, and they say stuff about my kids, and they, I mean, like there's a part of it. Now his kids are younger, and like they don't have any access to see any of that, but. I look at it right now and I go that, my kids are older. I have kids that absolutely, I mean, I have adult children that don't live in my house. They, they can get on and see for themselves. And like, now my adult children, if they agreed and wanted to be a part of something, I would totally make them a part of something because they're adults and they, they can agree to that. But for my younger kids, like it's my responsibility as their dad to protect them. And if I know that there are hurtful things, like I have super tough skin over this. Like you guys leave a mean comment, you all watching this and made it an hour and a half into this video, you are not leaving mean comments. I just want to put that out there. Like we recognize that you all are wonderful, good people, and we love you guys. We're not in any way insinuating that you're that.
Right, but the ones that do.
They are there, and sometimes I go in, I erase their comments. I mean, if they say something too mean, I go in and I'll take it out, and I can take it. I'm telling y'all, like y'all say stuff about me, especially you YouTubers, y'all are craziest, and y'all say this crazy mean stuff to me, and you insult me and whatever, and I'm telling you, like I literally think nothing else of it. I read it and I go, and I shut my phone because my phone opens and closes. Yeah. So I'm like, and I put it away.
And I let it fester.
Like, yeah, Kelly, you're getting tougher though.
Yeah, I'm getting tougher for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember the first experience that I had. We were dating, but people haven't seen me. He didn't post pictures of me or anything. And somebody got on and must have stalked his profile to stalk my profile to see exactly who I was. And they were like, "Oh, she's a narcissist and she's gonna break your heart," and some nasty, mean things. And I'm like,
it was even nastier and meaner than that. I mean,
yeah. And I'm
so bad that I erased the message, and then they went and they got on, they messaged again, and I messaged him back, and I was like, "You're talking about a widowed woman. Like you should be. You're claiming to be a Christian on a pastor's channel. Like you should be helping her. Like why if you want to be a Christian, like help this person. Yeah. Why would you say these things?" And they just doubled down, and so eventually I had to block them.
Yeah.
So.
But they don't know me. They don't. I mean, if they did, they would know that like I am the farthest thing from a narcissist, and it's like, what? Yeah. What do you mean? But I mean, people do. I remember, gosh, before any of this, I was married to Jonathan, pregnant with Sophia, and I'm tame now, but I'm a very avid Trump supporter, and so like I would be on there like battling people that are saying these mean things, and I know, why would you do that? But I fell for it, like the whole, I'm going to stick up for this and that, and so I would like post Trump stuff, and this person came onto my Instagram and commented on a sonogram picture and said, "Your ugly baby is already hideous in the womb." And I'm saying like worse than that. And they told me that I should go have an abortion because of it. And I'm like, you guys are brutal.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what we're protecting our children from, because people, they don't know a low blow, just like the enemy. They don't know a low blow.
Well, and I mean that's the whole thing. Just a word on that. If you've ever been involved in that, here's a word, which is to say, like, these are real people that are on the other end of these cameras, because just like I said earlier, that like the dynamic has changed. You know, human beings are the ones with cell phones. You think you're commenting on a video, but you're commenting on a human being.
Yeah.
That's a person.
Yeah.
And they really do have feelings, and this really is affecting people. And, you have persons like myself that can have really tough skin and can say, I literally don't care. And if it got to the point that it bothered me too bad, I would just shut it down. I'd be like, well, I'm not going to do that. Like that's bothering me. It does not bother me to one degree. Like I give it no second thought whatsoever. It actually, sometimes I'm almost to the other end. I'm almost humored by it anymore. I'm like, well, this, that was a creative way to say that. Like whatever. But I think Chat GPT is helping people come up with more creative comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like more creative ways to say the mean stuff.
I think so too.
But again, just back to the kids, like I look at the children and I go, like, they don't have a say in that. And I don't know how they would react to that. And even though,
oh gosh, you see bullying happening and kids killing themselves because of what somebody is saying online. And that is not something we want to be.
No. So, I even struggle with, teens having cell phones in general. And, I'm in the camp of saying I'm not exactly certain what to do there, because I think that there is a safety factor to, being able to reach someone, to be able to communicate. But cell phones have come so far. There's so much available, bad and good. Yeah. But, there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad stuff. And so, what part do you say, hey, we can't have that? And so, I don't know that I have all the answers. Right now I have protection things on my kids' phones that they can, I can see what they do, and I can see what they say, and I can see who's talking to them. And so, I can see those things, and it of course has adult content blockers and alerts us and those sorts of things. And so, but even at that, it still worries me. And I think to myself, the locks are meant to keep good people out.
Right.
So how do you, how do you deal with that on a digital level? That can be really difficult. So anyways, there's a hard line that's in the sand right there that says I will not be putting my children online. That's just a boundary that I don't want to cross. And, I don't want to expose them. Don't want to expose them to that. So I want to talk. I feel like we talked about this one on here. Be honest about the weight and negativity and how you guard your heart. Did you have any more you wanted to share about that before? No. Yeah. So I would say too, though, there is an opposite side of that, which is, on one side there's the negativity, right? But on the other side there is some positive.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot more positive than there is negative.
Yeah. It's like one bad apple spoils the bunch.
Yeah.
You can have 100 good comments, and they're not as easy to affect you. They don't affect you as easily as like one negative. 100 good comments and one negative one. It's like that one negative one is the thing that's the earworm, the thing that's stuck in your brain. But on the flip side, I think that you've really found some, as somebody who was on the kind of negative receiving end for a little bit, to then find a group of people that are like, oh, they love you and they triumph you and they enjoy you. And I said something the other day, we were talking about like the step stuff that's been going on, which, just so you all know, is really all in good fun. Like I'm not really jealous about Kelly's steps, because at the end of the day I get more. I'm saying I go further.
Right. Yeah.
I have to walk harder.
Yes.
We were talking about the step thing the other day, and she said something about like the Team Justin people, and I was like, you do realize you have way more Team Kelly than there is Team Justin. Look at you, even now you're thinking about it, and you're like, yeah, there really kind of is, there's and I just think that you've kind of found a tribe of people that enjoy you, that maybe you didn't see before, that social media has kind of brought to life. I just think there's some positive there to speak of.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I just think it's crazy, because I went from, I don't know. To me, in my eyes, what it seems like is pre-marriage. There was a lot of like team Justin, like, and
Oh, for sure.
and like
Yeah.
what Kelly, like,
You're
a
like
lot of negativity about me.
You're the Gentiles. You got grafted in.
Something.
You don't know the biblical reference. That probably seemed really weird.
No, it didn't seem weird.
Yeah, that's what Paul said about the Jews, right?
Yeah.
Like the Lord grafted the Gentiles in, and so like grafted them into the tree, and so.
But I just think it's crazy. Like y'all, like people didn't take the time to like get to know me. Instead, it was like Big Bad Kelly's gonna do something, so like anti-Kelly, but Team Justin, and then I feel like there was a flip.
Again, not all of you.
Right.
It's just the percentage of mean and crazy goes.
Right. Just like
goes
not all Walmart shoppers at midnight and Dollar General shoppers at midnight are crazy and
yeah, that's true.
coming in their pajamas, tweaking a little bit,
Because you have a lot of people who, like you said, I mean, there was definitely a flip.
Yeah.
I totally think so. And that's what I'm trying to say, like online, specifically online.
Yeah.
There is a positive side.
Yeah.
It's not all negative.
I would say it's mostly positive.
Yeah, I think
I would say it's very rare to have a negative person or a comment as far as like me personally.
yeah, on the regular and you personally. I
Yes.
think the negative comments kind of come in the viral things.
Right.
Yeah. I think that I think just closing out, like it's been a deal for us, like not a deal, like not I don't that sounds like a different thing than what I mean. It's been a goal to try to like keep the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounded dumb after I said it, but like how do we. Here's like an example of what I mean. Like even just the other night, we made like a little short video, and it's I'm questioning with Kelly. I'm like, is this content that we want to post, or is this something like is this maybe it's a good idea and maybe it gets clicks, but it's not really our platform. It's not the goal. Like we really do have a goal of trying to be ministry minded, and that ministry is expanding in different ways. And like here on the podcast, it's definitely expanding into it's expanding into something different, where it started out as like just Bible study as the ministry, but now it's definitely this kind of relational ministry where we've got a chance to relate with people, and we've got a chance to relate with people on a level that and maybe is helpful or healing to them, or sometimes just brings joy and but still I totally don't just believe but see it as like it really is ministry. And so keeping that as the focus, like I'm not here to make TikTok dance videos. Not that anybody would want to see that anyways.
Could be viral.
There's a lack of rhythm there.
You could do what's that one where the kids like do that like flossing.
Flossing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the gritty.
I'm like 10 years behind everything right now when I'm talking about flossing. I don't think kids have flossed in a really long time.
No, I saw one of our children flossing just the other day, and I was like, "Are you flossing over there?" So I think they were doing it as a joke, like a nostalgic joke, but totally just saw it 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I don't think you see as many people flossing. Like there was a moment that flossing in and of itself had its own viral moment, and then now it's gone. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's doing the gritty anymore either.
No, I don't think so either. But I think it could be viral, whether good or bad. I think that.
I'm gonna pass on the. But what if it's the Forrest Frank
But
song?
what if you're quoting scripture and blessing? Goodness, I would watch what you say though, Forrest Frank song, because my goal is to get you pastors of the church to do the put my heart back together thing.
Well, I think that's like the church's social media.
Yeah.
Though. Like that's not
Yeah.
my
And it's for fun, just to
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think too. I mean, there's something to be said about like demonstrating that fun side, demonstrating
Yeah.
that loving side or that relational side, because that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it still has to get us to the point of our like our mission and
Yeah,
what we're trying to accomplish. So we're not in any way saying that every single thing has to always have a Bible verse to
Right.
be ministry. Some of it is relational ministry, and that's a means of ministry.
Yeah.
Like that's a means of evangelism. Is to build relationships. And that's not to cheapen relationships and say, oh, well, you're only building relationships to try to evangelize or try to proselytize. No, it's not that at all. It's to say that the best form of evangelism, the best form of sharing the gospel is by building a relationship with someone. So that's part of what we have to do here online. And that's part of what I feel like the Lord's kind of given us this ability, this means to that end of building relationships. And then, the ultimate goal for us is sharing the gospel.
Yep.
How do we do that? How can we do that as a couple? How can we do that as a family? How can we do that in what we teach? How can we do that in what we promote? How can we do that in what we post? And so, I mean, we post a lot between the platforms. We are goodness. I mean, if you're following just one platform, you might be like, oh, they didn't post in a few days, but that's only because you're only following one platform. If you're on all those different things that we're posting on, goodness, I mean, we're posting multiple things every single day. I don't think there's a day in the week that we're not
right. Well, and it's not just our personal. Like we've got all of our personals, and then we've got the church social media. We've got the school social media. I mean, there's a lot involved in in this ministry.
Yeah. So, then that forces us to have to take time. Sometimes we just have to be like, okay, like we're turning them off. No, no comments right now, no replies, no anything, just turn it off. Like we have to just, and as a matter of fact, I will say that it's actually caused me to like kind of lose the more personal side. I mean, I have like a personal account on Facebook and there are times that I'm like, I haven't looked at that in days. Not that I haven't been on, but I've just been on posting things or commenting back to things or whatever. But I haven't been able to take the time to just say, oh, well, I just was scrolling.
Right.
I guess to some degree it did end the doom scroll. Where we saw this video one time and we've always liked to quote it where it's called 911.
So funny.
There's this, I'm sure there's probably been lots of people that have done it, but there's this like lady and she's on her phone and she's like, oh, honey, look at this. And she leans down and then there's her husband like laying on the floor and there's a ladder beside him like he fell off the ladder. And she's like, oh yeah, 911, 911. and that's us sometimes. We'll see, the other one on the phone. He'll be like, did you 911? Did you?
Yeah, because you'll pull up your phone to like look up a phone number or to look up some kind of information. And whatever pops up first on your phone, like whatever you were on last, it's like, oh, look at Billy Joe just was doing this the other day. It's like, wait a minute. I was in the middle of getting a phone number. I was in the middle of doing this. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, that's just that's the long and short of it is, staying on track, staying on mission, staying on point. And like, that's the goal. That's the goal that we have here on the podcast, but also just on all of it altogether. So, I think it's time for us to go on our walk. I feel like you got tired, but it's not midnight.
I know.
It's like 8 a.m.
I know, but I'm used to like getting up and that's the first thing we do is we go for our walk and work out. So like I'm ready for it.
Maybe one day we'll do our podcast on the walk. I'll need a selfie stick.
But we won't have our happy chaos sign.
You just carry it.
We'll edit it into the video.
Oh, there you go.
Floating happy chaos.
Yeah. You could probably do that. You could probably
can.
put it as like a sticker or something.
Yeah, you probably can.
Yeah. I mean, we have good talks on our walks.
Yeah, we do.
Like, this will not end. It's not like we're gonna just go walk and not talk for the next hour. We're gonna chat it up.
Yep. Exactly.
Except when we're going uphill. Sometimes I feel like I'm like walking uphill and talking. I'm like, why am I talking right now?
It's true though. It's true. At least jogging. Like when we're jogging, it's like no talking. We're going uphill.
Yeah. Well, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, to this podcast, here's what I would ask you today. Like, I understand not everybody's got the same type of platform that we have with social media, but what are some boundaries that you set up on your social media? Like, what are some things that you say, like, these are things that I want from this, even if it is just socialism or whatever, but these are also some boundaries that we set up, because I think everybody has to set up boundaries on social media. It can be the Wild West, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so, what are some boundaries that you personally have set up that you keep to say, like, this is what me and my husband do, or this is what I do with my kids, or this is what I just do personally to keep myself pure, or to keep myself from, whatever. I don't know what that could be. I'm like making up scenarios in my head over here. So you guys tell us, like, what are some boundaries that you all have when it comes to your social media?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we better go walk before Kelly falls asleep sitting up.
No, I'm not gonna fall asleep, and leave us some good comments.
Yeah, you better now.
Also, if you've made it this far, let us know if you want us to do an episode where we just do comments.
Nobody wants that.
I'll bet you guys do. I want you guys to let me know.
I don't think so.
Or where we answer comments. Maybe we'll do a live Happy Chaos sometime.
I think it's great when your comment is read, but I feel like it's hard when I hear other people. Like, if I'm on something and somebody reads my comment, that's like, oh, they read my comment. But then, like, other people's comments, it's hard for me to pay attention.
Okay.
I wonder if y'all feel the same way. You can tell me, do you enjoy the comment section? But what are you gonna do if they're all like, we don't really like that part?
Well, then I'll be like, I'm sorry.
What if people are like, we've been fast forwarding the tape?
You guys wouldn't say that.
We were fast forwarding the tape.
You know what's funny though that you say that? Our friend Kama, she came to me the other day, last Wednesday, and she said, just so you know, like, I have a guilty confession. I was like, okay. And she's like, I watch every podcast, but I only get to the comments section and then I knock out, I pass out because I fall asleep to it. She said, but the comment section is my favorite section. That's all I want to listen to.
Okay, well, at least
she's like, I know you guys' story and stuff, so I don't need to hear all that. And she's like, but the comment section, I have to listen to it every time.
There was a couple of people asleep in church yesterday. Like, they were full on asleep. I think it's just my voice. I don't know.
How can you fall asleep to that?
I don't know, but they were out. I mean, what? Well, he was young. He looked like he was a teen. He was out.
Maybe it just looked like it from where you're at.
No, he was out. I mean,
because Lauren posted a picture of her boys, and like at first I was looking, I was like, is he asleep? But he was in the Word, and she's like, I love seeing my boys in the Word.
Maybe there were some in the Word, but I'm telling you, this boy was. And he wasn't the only one. There was a couple yesterday that were like nodding off.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm a very boring preacher, you all, so it tracks. Okay.
Opposite.
All right, y'all. Yeah. We'll talk to you on the next one. Episode 16. Look how far we've made it.
I know.
We're like the Shania Twain song.
Yeah, 15 we're at, so 5 more and we've made it big.
You know what? I would just, one more question, which would be this. Like, what would you all, if you all had something, we have a lineup of stuff that we want to talk about, but like, what would you all like to hear? We would love to hear that. I mean, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to change anything in that way of saying like we're not, but I would just love to know if there's something that you guys are like, oh, I wish you would really talk about, or I wish you would dive into, because obviously we're just an open book. So,
but PG rated, PG 13
for sure. I think our audience, for the most part, it's a PG audience.
Yeah. Well, we were on a podcast the other day, and they started bringing up stuff, and I was like,
he was not.
I am not comfortable with this right now. So
I tried to just move us off.
I know, and so I'm like, don't ask us to dive into that stuff.
I don't know if that was the podcast though. I think you're talking about. We were on a grief group. It was like a Zoom call grief group. So it was video form, but it wasn't a podcast. It wasn't going to get posted.
Right, but it was still.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know.
Can we? Can we skip this part?
Welcome to my world. Okay, guys. See y'all next time.
Bye.